Good morning. Welcome to EduSec Network. Friend, as you know, today we are going to discuss project management. Today's lecture is a kind of introductory lecture. We will try to understand the pre-planning steps or say planning steps that include project selection, screening, and then project reports. So there are various stages. We will try to understand what is required for starting any project, whether it's an individual take any project or be given by the other agency like government or the other donor agency. So it involves a lot of process and steps. We will try to understand how a project is finally executed in a series of lectures. And for discussion on this very topic, we have in the studio Professor Nadira Chaturvedi. She has experience on both the world working as a in corporate sector. Presently, she is teaching in different management schools, Delhi West Management School, business studies, and has 28 years experience of working in corporate sector in different sectors like MNCs, smaller scale industries, export, import, engineering, and she has also experience of working in social sector like NGO for about 7 years. So I think her knowledge is quite diverse and about 35 years. So certainly will help us to understand the project management. And apart from that, she has also presented a number of papers in different conferences and journals, and also involved in social works and helping the students, students who are street children, helping them in different ways, and has published a short story titled Umeed, and also running a library in different part with the name Asim Library. So certainly she has experience of all these sectors, either it's social sector, corporate sector, education sector. So will help us to understand the different nature of project and will give insight how to handle all these projects. So I think her knowledge and experience will help us to understand the project management and give insights. So on her behalf, I welcome her for EduSec lecture on this very topic. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. It is a pleasure to be here once again. Good morning to all the viewers. Today we will begin a series for project management. Project management, by the very word, has two words, project and management. So we will discuss first of the project, then how to manage it. In any field, for any work that we have to do, whether it is a child's future or a wedding or any business that we do, we have to first do the planning stage. It is said that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's very simple. जितनी अच्छी planning होगी, उतना अच्छा उसका implementation होगा. So, although you may have a ready-made project, although somebody may have given you a ready-made product, even then, the different stages, the different aspects need to be planned before you actually begin to jump and implement the whole project. What, therefore, is the meaning of a project? There can be a variety of meanings in this project. For a businessman, it can be a new product or a new service. It can be also expansion of an existing system that he is already following. It can be expansion of production facilities. It can be expansion of a new market. It can be collaboration with a new foreign production player or marketing of somebody from imports. So many ideas can come, and it can be in the business field. In the social field, project can be in any of the sectors which are like health, education, and so many more which are coming up now like environment, etc. Any of these projects have two basic varieties. Either it is well formed, well defined, or you will start it and then let it grow and learn to take it from there. Let us therefore practice whatever we have known in a structured manner, in a pre-planned manner, in the different aspects that are required for implementation, keeping that in mind. We will therefore see what are the areas that need to be planned. The very first thing you need is to identify clearly with complete focus what is the definition of your product. That means project identification. The other area is the right location, the right methodology, because many people can do the same product with a different method, which is the market, how it is marketed, whether there is potential for marketability. If there are existing players, what is the competition, who is a brand leader. There will be some critical factors of every project or importance of every product. We should not ignore that. There are costs attached to the product or the service. It cannot be missed out because you may be overpriced or underpriced and you may miss a value. This is just the broad areas that we must look into, whether it's a service, whether it is government sector, private sector, or anybody who is starting it. So let us go one by one in each of these areas. In addition to what we have mentioned, for all the above identified focus areas, there will be a financial planning. That means a complete requirement to start a project. Maybe the funder is giving you the money, maybe you have to find your own funds. So the requirements of funds must first be identified, spelled out, calculated, then the sources of funds. In this also we will have two categories. One is for establishment costs, that means beginning of the project. The second is for running of the cost, that means on day-to-day running basis. Both are important because otherwise the project can go haywire. Very important is the skill set, knowledge, experience, level of skills, staff availability, labor ability, who are actually going to run and manage the project. The research, innovation, development is continuously happening because of competition and because of exposure to the foreign world, or the internet age is here and everything has become one global village. So in any project, we must either have the latest methodologies, latest technology, or innovate into a new feature or convenience for the customer. This becomes important. Last but not the least is the IT. There is nothing in old-fashioned days we could write down in reports, we could write down documents, but now everything is IT enabled, whether to sell, to write, to produce, to record what is produced, and to add features of after-sales service or any other areas. So these areas also have to be ready for the project before it is implemented. The scalability and expandability of a project depends on the IT systems that are being used. It can define success or failure. Let us therefore go into stages individually now. The first part, what is my product? What is the service that I offer? What is it that my customer is looking out for? It is extremely important to, at this stage itself, define what you are promising to a customer. After all, it is a promise that you make. It is a promise of something of value, something that the customer could not get earlier or the beneficiary could not find elsewhere, and you are the only one they will come to select the product. This does not mean that all products are new. No. Many times, in fact, inventions, which means basic, pure new products, are hardly 3 or 4% of the total ideas of production. It is innovation or reinventing the same product, modifying, improving, making it cheaper, more convenient, more easy to access, easy to use and discard. That is the key to make large volumes of services or products. So in your project, you have to identify the basic need that you are fulfilling. There is a hierarchy of needs. Everybody in every system, every caste system, every philosophy has it. First level is your basic needs. Roti, kapda, makan as it is called. Basic survival needs. They will always be in presence. The more people are born, the more people live, the more they get older, this need will always remain. It can reduce in proportion to the other needs. It can change as a percentage to your total needs, but it can never be eliminated. Even when we are sick and not conscious, even then we are needing medicines or survival or refreshments. So this is a basic need which is called need to have. You cannot do without it. Once these needs are fulfilled, you come to another category of needs where you like to have those needs. It's nice to have that entertainment, sports, good health, going out, meeting people, friendship, and networking. These, you can survive without these needs, but it is nice to have them, which means they come in the second category of life skills, the lifestyle that we are leading, and how we relate to the world around us. So basic instincts, basic needs are like what any living creature, including animals, need. But this is where human beings have the maximum needs. So once we have covered our back with the provisions, we will now go into the next level of needs. A lot of projects and businesses are catering in this segment. The next higher is, you may be satisfied with your society, your car, your new dress, your new clothes, but you need to have something more than that, which is frills or icing on the cake or luxury items. So this is a niche area, a high-end area, and a very important but restricted to less number of people. This is high value and low in terms of quantities. Just as the absolute essentials are very large volume but maybe lower priced. And the in-between areas are need to have or nice to have are the engaging of the lifestyle that the modern world is going to. So for example, if you have a project for education, or if you have a project for healthcare or sanitation, where will it fall? Sanitation is an absolutely essential need, but many people still don't have this. Food is an essential need, but still this underprivileged sector does not have it, or in some areas it is not adequate enough, or because of disasters it may not be there. So the government may introduce a project just to provide food for all the needy, and you may be in charge of executing this project in a particular zone, district, or an area. That could be one project. On the other hand, you may be given a project for making luxury watches or designing superfine cars. That would fall in the frills area. Although the products are different, the skills of management remain the same. They do not change except for fine distinctions in the marketability or retailing of these products. Basic skills of supply chain remain the same. In each of these products, therefore, you must understand whether it is niche, whether it is just a cost-effective product, whether it is a generic product, meaning सभी के लिए चलेगा, या खास बात होनी चाहिए, या खास बात के बिना नहीं बिकेगा, या उससे अच्छी मेरी साड़ी, उस तरह की बात. So that is called unique proposition. Unique proposition means why your project, your product is different, better from somebody else's. You must identify the reason, whether it is cost, comfort, or just the need. Once you have focused and are clear about this, you will have a very clear mission whether your project should be cost intensive, cost cutting, find R&D, high quality, etc. That is the reason why we first understand the need of our customers, the need of our beneficiaries, and the product or the proposition that we are offering. Based on this, therefore, we can identify many needs. These are just some examples: healthcare, education, internet, retail, environment. These are the sunrise industries or the upcoming industries. So if you have to choose a project, if it is you choose in this area, the whole market will be growing. Project planning then, after identification of the product or service, falls into 4 broad lines. Looking for ideas, which we have just discussed. Screening those ideas, which we have to discuss now. Screening means we have to clarify and see whether that project or the product is worthwhile going through. An in-depth study is made after you clear out the basic screening, that means prima facie viability of any new idea or product. At least 3 ideas should be taken for in-depth study. Why 3 ideas? Why not just 1? If we are clear and focused, why should we expand to 3 and not limit it to 1? Isn't it a waste of time? Aren't we losing money in doing all this research? Yes, But this money is not wasted. It is an investment so that you do not fail tomorrow. It is like that in Delhi, it is typically there are two mudrikas on the ring road. One goes clockwise, the other goes anti-clockwise. You have to catch a mudrika, you're clear, that is your product. But if you don't investigate whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise, you may reach West Delhi instead of South Delhi. It is as simple as that. You may climb the wrong mudrika bus and reach a wrong destination, although you are clear and correct in having chosen a mudrika. So fundamentally, the direction that you choose, जिस दिशा में जाना चाहते हो, वो clear होना चाहिए. The project, after doing for 3 project studies, you will realize which is profitable, what are the practical difficulties, what can be the unforeseen problems, and accordingly you can finally choose one final product for going ahead. This choice is in the business field. But in the government sector, in the NGO sector, in the social sector, sometimes we are not guided by the failure or success of profits. We are guided by the social objectives and ultimate benefit. So these are evaluated from a different angle. The screening process, unlike a business idea, is not based on the bottom line, profit hoga, nafa nuksan, but it is based on the social deliverable, social benefit. That means the service should reach the maximum number of people with the minimum cost. That is the benefit. So even that must be analyzed for the different methodologies. So the 3 fundamental areas of screening and evaluation for feasibility are the following. Number 1, technical feasibility. Number 2, financial feasibility. Both these are based on marketing feasibility. Technical feasibility, what does it entail? Fundamentally, whether you are capable of delivering the product, the project within the technological constraints that you have. Financial capability, whether you have enough money, sufficient grants to start it and to keep it running. If a problem occurs, because of money, many projects die down. In fact, 7 out of 10 projects die this stage because of the cash flow problems. Marketing. We may be very excited about a new idea or a new project, but unless we see the viability in terms of number of people, the cost of delivery, we can have a serious situation of running out, having invested in the wrong product. So all these 3 areas, we shall go into it detail before implementation of a project, and that is what we call product or project planning. At the end of the planning, we will come out with a document which is called the project report. One has heard of these project reports. Sometimes you get ready-made project reports. You can pick that up, but be careful. It cannot be applied to every situation because it can never be copied just in totality. This is a danger. This is an easy way out, but a very difficult end of the road will happen because you may not have considered all the factors and all the constraints that a typical situation demands. In the project report, you will have many sections. First will be the general profile. That means where you are having it, the name of the product, the location, etc. Second, you will have the marketing viability and market research in detail. Another section will be the feasibility of the financial aspects, economic aspects, the technical aspects, the managerial feasibility, and you come out with a checklist of different items to be evaluated or put into the report. We will discuss this checklist now as we go on. Let us begin with the first area. We have already touched upon this. The first area that we discuss while preparing a project report is the product definition. It is the uniqueness of it, the uses of it, the cost of it, the quantity that you expect, or the number of people that you expect to come. For example, as we took an example of an education sector, let us say you want to introduce some new curriculum or some new method of, let's say, life skills have to be taught to a certain segment of children. What will be the government has sanctioned it, the Human Resource Development Ministry, the Ministry of Education, everybody is very keen on it. How will you identify the number of schools? How will you identify the number of children? Which ages should be going into it? That is all the marketing details that you need to find out. But before that, what is the life skill module that you want to transfer? Because that is your product. The content of it, the style of it, the teaching capability of it. Is it only for a certain segment? Is it a niche service? Is it convenient? What will be the cost of that module? Etc. The next part. Why is it that only you can provide this service or product? This is a very important question to ask. The more number of times you will ask yourself, the better your answers will become. For example, let us say I am opening a new restaurant. That is my new project. New, let's say, Korean food. I suddenly have an idea. There are many Korean collaborations. There is LG, there are Hyundai, there are cars happening, there is for consumer goods. So people are coming in and they need Korean food. Just an idea, because somebody likes good food. Should I do a restaurant only with Korean food? Should I do a high-end restaurant? Should I do a cost-effective one? Should I do a canteen? Should I do a home service? Why will somebody come and buy Korean food from me? That is the question to be asked. Spend at least 50% of your time analyzing this question. Most failures, 9 out of 10 products will fail if this question is not answered, because the result will be everybody does it, so I am doing it, which means what we call me too. Usne kiya to main bhi karunga. Copycat. But the copycats don't survive, because the first person who started it or the smartest person who started it will already have changed the product and improved it for his next batch of customers. It is easy to copy simple products. It is difficult to copy technically high-end products. So choose a product which is not easy to copy by another person. What is the meaning of another person? Exactly, the competition or potential competition. There is an exercise here, there is a small concept I will introduce. It is called Porter's 5-force market theory. We teach it in school, we teach it to students many times. It's very simple. What is the advantages of your product? Who are the other people who make the product? Whether the demand for the product, that means the buyer is stronger, or whether the supply, that means supply is stronger. So depending on the demand and supply economics, there is the power rests either in the customer or in the supplier. Meaning, if the product is rare, then the supplier holds the key and he can increase prices or decrease prices, sometimes even artificially. If it is easily available, then the customer's rules the roost. He will dictate the quality, the price, sometimes even the features. They will not buy your product unless you offer that feature. The last is the play between competition. Whether there are some players, whether another competitor can enter the market easily, or whether there is a consensus or a cartel among suppliers and together they are ruling the market. In high technology items, many times it is a cartel work. So be careful about these things. In the NGO sector again, it is rare to have too much competition, but even in this sector now, there are many people offering the same service. However, the markets are divided or the areas are divided geographically, so relatively competition is less, but that does not mean that planning or efficiency of management should be any less. In any of the sectors, you have to understand all these little nuances and improve or define with clarity your product offering. You should also check not just the product. Suppose I'm selling a pen, or I want to make a new pen which has many miles of writing. The ink can flow for many words. It means that. What is the alternative? Can somebody use a pencil? Can somebody use a laptop? Can somebody use a phone? He may not need the pen. So products get outdated, they get obsolete because the very function of that changes. I'll give you an example. It's like in the music industry. When the first 2-in-1 was introduced 3 decades ago, there was so much excitement. A radio became a transistor became a cassette player, and when you had a radio and a cassette player together in a 2-in-1, you thought you had conquered the world. And then the CDs became more prominent. CDs then changed to DVDs. CDs became redundant. Now if you look at a cassette, you will smile with just a memory. In the olden days, when our children were small, we used to listen to cassettes. It is just a memory now. Nobody uses a cassette. In fact, we all have some cassettes in the house and we don't know what to do with it. So the alternative now became CD players, DVD players. But soon even this is fading. What took over is the iPods and the iPhones and the music that you can record on your very hand phone. Mobile phones came in with a big revolution. Product need is the same, listening to music. The fundamental need remains the same, but the way it is delivered has been changing so fast that the earlier version starts to die. This is what we mean by alternative solutions. Changing technology, the last line. If you do not keep pace with technology, however good your product, however big your project, you can have a serious failure. The Nokia phone was so strong in its product, in its projects, but it is failing because of the different technologies that Samsung is coming up in these smartphones. There are existing products, there are new products. You must think ahead, not only in terms of the features, but in terms of scalability or diversification for the future. So when you take up a project, remember that it is not only for today, but it is for tomorrow. You have to plan ahead now, not begin by short-term planning, but also keep a long-term planning. You must know that you have to plan in 2 stages. For today, that means for immediate market, and for the next 10 years, 20 years, depending on the nature of your project. This does not mean that you will remain static, but you will keep changing or modifying in future. Market potential, another area of the planning process. Many projects fail because of this area. We need to go into in detail, take up a market research or buy market research data and explore how much is the customer potential, who is going to buy, and where I will be able to sell it. All this put together will give you the profile of the marketing as well as the product in terms of cost, price, features, packaging, distribution, and promotion. So at the end of this stage, you will come up with 5 different strategies for the marketing of the product. I repeat, the product features, the pricing, the promotion, the distribution, the packaging, the delivery method, and the reach that you have for your customer segment and different segments of the customers or beneficiaries. We come to the next stage now. How do we deliver the service, whether it is social service, whether it is a product service, whether it is an internet service, or anything? In a nutshell, we will call it product, just for generic terms. What is the methodology? What is the process? What is the way in which we are going to take this product to the final customer or the person who is going to use it? The buyer or the consumer, as we will term him. Is it high technology? Is it low technology? Is it already available and we are copying it? Do we need to do research and development? Do we need to have a big space to make it? Can we make it from within one room? Do we need to buy expensive machinery? Will we need a tool room? Etc. So the questions that to be asked and explored is the following. 1. What is the capacity of production I need? This will be linked with the first part. That means, what is the capacity of buyers? What is the amount of people I need to reach. If it is education, let's say the number of students, and therefore the number of books is my product, or the number of teachers I must train, which becomes my facility. If it is, let's say, a high-end phone, who are the potential number of people buying it, and therefore what is the number of phones I must be able to manufacture. So which is called a production capacity. This will lead to the other questions. This will answer the other questions. What is the kind of machine I need, and therefore what is the cost of the machine? Can I break this up into small machines? Which means I must know the process of manufacture, production process as it is called, or service process. This is called a flow process chart, a supply chain chart. You can call it anything. It means from the beginning of the raw material stage or the beginning of the creation of the product, how it will reach the end benefit to the customer. Can I change some of the parts? Should I make some and outsource some? For example, if I am giving books on life skills, should I engage my own consultants, or can I hire consultants to create the content? Should I train the teachers myself, or hire other trainers to train the trainer? Should I manufacture the books myself? Should I print, or give it to a private printer to print and I will publish it? These are the kind of questions that come up. For example, you're making the phone. Should I make the software myself and buy the hardware? Or should I make both hardware and software so that my trade secrets, my production secret, remains with me, so that my quality remains untouched? There will always be advantages and disadvantages to every decision. But that is the whole point of this discussion, this research, before you start to implement the project. If in your product quality is very important, then the answer is do not send any job outside that will harm or endanger the quality. Keep it as an in-house critical operation. But if it is not so important, let's say dispatching is not so important, then you can outsource a logistical partner who will pick it up from you and do all the deliveries. Or retailing. Should I sell directly to the customer? That means I have to open retail shops in every city, every district, every zone, every village. Isn't that too much money? Can I trust another retailer to sell my products, which should be an internet-based? Yes, perhaps that is not so risky. So I can outsource that part of the product. This is called line balancing and buying out of different services. So I can outsource certain items, or I can produce everything in-house. These decisions will automatically lead to the different cost of investment. That is why they're important. Also, they will tell me what is the nature of labor or staff or management I need to run my operations. So while I'm putting up the project, if these questions are answered much before, my project can be set up faster, better, and for a long-term benefit without compromising on the product quality. Materials. Will I get the materials in India? Will I get the materials from imported? Whether it is restricted list? Should I store up much material? Should I stock less? Is it easy? Is it costly? High technology versus labor. Should I invest in a machine which has 12 operations, or should I invest in 12 small machines where I need 12 people to operate but in smaller operations? Those decisions are answered by your social view or your financial view or your product view. So a discussion or a brainstorming at this stage will help you to make your project and your product lean, smart, and go a long way in saving costs or improving quality. The facility that you have may need something more than just the production, the indirect production of tools, dyes, research. Research is coming up in a big way. We are not used to researching because we are very good in just copying somebody else's product. That is our basic nature, jugaad, what we call chalta hai. But that mentality is changing. We don't have to invent, but we must be sure that what we do is the right thing that we do. That is why we have research and development for the product, for the equipment, for the manufacturing process, and for the quality control. The very meaning of research and development has expanded to create new products, to create a better method to do it, and to continuously improve the quality. Not only that, to reduce the cost of manufacturing also. So research and development is not limited now to just a scientist sitting in a laboratory, but it has expanded to every zone of management of a product. The utilities, the energy saving, it is the in thing now. How much energy will you waste? How much energy will you consume? Do you have the money or the requirement, or can you save anything? Waste management. Can you use whatever products are wasted or the byproducts of your production into converting into another product and therefore get some money out of it? For example, giving a personal example, I was in charge of a plastic industry. We would make high quality parts for as intermediary for the automobiles or the consumer durable sector. But there was always some plastic material wasted. We converted that into not so critical, low quality other items which could be sold. Therefore, we saved the cost for both the people. The level of technology, the infrastructure that is required is as important. Many times it is not so much the product, but the way we deliver it that creates the failure or creates the challenge, which is called the process or the supply chain. You may have the goods. Take the food industry. We have very good production in this country, but the storage of grain after harvesting, the way it is reaching the customers, the way it is distributed in the public distribution system is, everybody knows, a disaster. We do not have enough cold storage warehouses. We do not have enough cold storage trucks. We do not have the fast moving trains to take it, and therefore most of the food is wasted, ending into problems for the farmer, for the middleman, for the end customer. Everybody loses. But if the method changes, just imagine, and even if 50% more, 10% more of that food is distributed, everybody would be happy. It's the same for any engineering product or any customer service, including internet. Internet is the latest one in this, supplying. What does internet do? It is not giving you the products through your computer, but it is helping you to reach somebody who is giving the product cheaper, without storing it, faster, and at your doorstep. Look at that convenience. If you order something now on the internet, let's say it's a Flipkart or eBay or Amazon, it saves your trip on the road. The shopkeeper does not have to store it in his warehouse. Therefore, the retail size of the shops can come down. The manufacturer is very happy because he is stocking and selling immediately. So the entire chain of supply, customer, manufacturer, supplier, wholesaler, everybody benefits. That is what is the new age. So the method, the processes are undergoing complete change. Sitting in my home, I can order for certain items. Therefore, manufacturing processes are getting to be important. Do not invest into a project which is old-fashioned and depends on the physical side. Maximize on technology. Take it into account while preparing or planning your project. Internet must be a part of the new world, otherwise you will be left behind. We come to the cost of product or the processes. The way you manufacture, the way you deliver, that is why internet is important, as we already spoke. Cost of delivery comes down, cost of storage comes down. Therefore, you may have 1 or 2 extra people on the computer, but you will save many legs, many salesmen on the road. When you save a salesman on the road, you save the labor, you save the freight, you save the fuel, you save the energy that is going of every person in the roads and streets, which means you're really helping infrastructure to remain important. That is the ripple effect. You will save overhead costs, you will save staff costs, you will save unused and dead stock. This is a very important part when you prepare your project, unused material. So having completed and designed the manufacturing process, improved it, we come to the next segment of financial decisions. Many financial, everything in business, everything in service, everything in the social sector, however good the intentions, boils down to financial terms. It is a language of business. It is a language of the world. It is a language of the economics. How much money you put in, how much money you got, how much money you spent, who got the benefit of how much goods, right? So it is really just a language that we are using. Financial decisions, therefore, come in various stations, various segments, and in any project report, this is the heart of the project. You may have designed the product, you have done the market viability, you have seen the best production process, but it all translates now into the core, the financial terms. You will ask questions, what is the outlay? What is the size of your project? Meaning, कितना investment कर रहे हो? कितना कमाओगे? कितना नुकसान होगा? When will you break even? कितने दिन लगेंगे वापस लाने में जो मूल डाला है? So fixed cost requirement and working capital requirement दो भाग होते हैं. Fixed cost is one time initial investment cost जो आप शुरू में इन्वेस्ट करोगे प्रोजेक्ट शुरू होने के लिए. रनिंग कॉस्ट वो है जो प्रोजेक्ट चलाने के लिए है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट अस गो बैक टू आवर लिटरेसी प्रोजेक्ट. द इनिशियल कॉस्ट इज कंटेंट डेवलपमेंट, बट द रनिंग कॉस्ट इज number of books, number of schools that it is going to, number of teachers that are being trained. That is your continuous cost. Suppose you were making the phone. What is your initial cost? The cost of the building, the factory, the research development team, the machinery, the utilities, etc. What will be your running cost? The cost of raw material, the cost of your staff, the cost of your engineers, the cost of your marketing. Those are your variable and recurring costs. Break-even. Break-even analysis is that analysis which you find the minimum number of units to be sold or delivered to recover your fixed costs. This is on the operational side. How much should we invest of our own money and how much should we borrow from others? For example, in the social sector, you may get a grant, or in a private sector, you may have to put your own money, which is called your own margin money, and take a loan. You have both these options. How much interest should I pay? Whether I should put all my own money if I am cash rich, or should I borrow? There are pluses and minuses of both the things. If you borrow, you save your own money, but you pay interest. If you put your own money, you have a bigger risk. So risk and reward decisions, costs and of fixed investment and number of units sold, all put together combine into finance. There are many people who will give you finance, so you should go to the right person and find the cheapest finance available, which is the least cumbersome to make. You may have to go through a lot of project reports and a lot of paperwork before you get the funds, but it may be worthwhile. Your local district industry center can give you this information. At the national level, there are banks which will give you this information. They are bound to give you loans. They are supposed to give you. There is a special SIDB, Small Industries Development Banking Division. There are people like National Small Industries Corporation. Government gives tax concessions for certain projects. You must be aware, research it so that you take the grant. Maximize on any tax concessions, whether it is backward area or cluster region or any region or gender projects that you can get. Maybe the promotional sectors of health, research, hospitals, medical care are all coming in, and you must go all out to get the funding from this. So it will be well worth in the pre-project stage to go through these areas, to go to all these people and find out कहाँ सबसे सस्ता और कहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा पैसा आपको मिल सकता है. उतना ही आपकी बचत होगी. जितने पैसे अभी बचाओगे उतने ही प्रॉफिट आपका बढ़ेगा. We come to a very important part of choosing the location. Sometimes we have no choice. The government is giving you a grant, it will say you have to do a project, let's say in Bihar, or let's say in Muzaffarpur, or let's say in Haryana, or Delhi, or whatever, a backward area. There you have no choice. You live in some place, you want to do it near your house. Or your choice is dictated by the number of customers. Maybe your choice is better if you stay near the competition or the industry cluster. Suppose you are exporting a product, you would rather be near an export zone because of the other benefits that you get. It is better before you put a project that you decide, choose, visit different locations, sit down, make a plus and minus, pros and cons, an exercise, and then choose the most optimum location. कभी कभी घर से दूर होगा लेकिन इंडस्ट्री के पास होगा या कस्टमर के पास होगा. So what you save in commuting to your plant, you may save by sending your product out from that place. So these are the longest term decisions, where the land should be there, where the building should be put up, where the factory should be there. You're planning now for your future. It is not easy to relocate, so pay attention to the locational choices that you make. Other choices will emerge. Should I rent the place? Should I own the place? Should I invest in the building or should I take it on lease? The surrounding areas, are they conducive? If my machine breaks down, can I get it maintenance? Labor, are they close by? Skills, can I get skilled labor close by? Raw material, बहुत इंटीरियर में होगा तो ट्रक कैसे पहुंचेगा? तो ऐसे डिसीजंस पहले ही लेने चाहिए, otherwise the project can fail. These are again long-term decisions. यहाँ भी there are many people who will assist you in making these decisions, in giving you the knowledge, giving you the information. For example, the small industries department, the NSIC, the consultancy firms, the market research firms, even private firms are there who make project reports. You can attend seminars, trade fairs. There are experts in every field. Learn from the competition or the government published reports, and you can get the information to assist you in making your project. Remember, every factor, every skill, everything is important, but some things are more important than others. We will call these critical factors to the success of that particular project or the particular industry. More critical than something else. So, although you may be good in doing, if critical means if you do not have this aspect, your project is doomed to failure or is likely to fail or at least to struggle. For example, sometimes the skill set of the people is important. As we mentioned, suppose you take the life skill distribution to primary section or middle section of schools. The skill of the content, the skill of the trainer, the teacher who is delivering that subject is very important. So, in your project, you must address this issue and hire the best trainers, the best educationists to develop the content and spend money to train the teachers. There was recently, a few years ago, a maths curriculum had changed, but the teachers did not understand how to do the maths. Or when computers were introduced in school, the teachers did not know how to operate computers. You have to invest in training the people, even whether it's your marketing boys, your sales people, your production people, to develop the skills of manufacture or delivery. Sometimes critical is technical requirement. As we spoke, the example of Nokia phone and Samsung phone. The technology changed. Nokia missed out because they did not have the technical availability of the Android system, or maybe they did not appreciate the technology was changing. Some projects failed because of lack of raw material. Some projects failed because of politics. Recently, a few years ago, the Tata had started the Nano project in West Bengal, but it had to be changed because of the labor problems or the political situation. So, the criticality of whether you may be making the best of milk products, but if you do not have the cold storage methods, you cannot reach it to the customer. That becomes critical to that industry. Costs. Sometimes you can do it, but the cost of your delivery, the cost of your project is so high that it cannot reach. All the earlier analysis that we have been talking about so far in terms of market, location, manufacturing process, etc., comes to these few critical aspects and helps us to avoid failure in terms of what is important or what is critical. All this, who does all this? Who takes all these decisions? Who will help to keep the project running? What we call management. Management is a very broad term. It has 3 levels: top management, who takes the visionary decisions, big decisions; middle management, who takes the operational decisions; lower management, staff, labor, who actually do the hard work. All 3 levels have their own role to play. It is not that if you have one, you can ignore the other. Each one should know with clarity and should be there in the right proportion. So designing the organization structure, not having too many people, but not having gaps also. Both are important. Divide the work, do not overlap the work, but do not have gaps in the work. This is an art, this is a science, and a top manager or the leader, that is his primary role, to keep his staff well divided with the work, well motivated to function, and well trained to perform their duties. So you build a team, you lead a team, you train them, and develop the trust and loyalty by sufficient compensation or motivation. This aspect is many times ignored because the person who is starting the project thinks he can do everything. No, that is a big disaster. वो एक अकेला कुछ नहीं कर सकता. हम सब मिलके जब मुट्ठी बंद होती है बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं. That is why we must collect all our wits and plan right in the beginning who will start, who will run, who will do the outside work, who will do the inside work, depending on the skills. So when we put all these factors together, we come out with what is called a project report. A project report, therefore, in a nutshell, is a big document. From start to end, it becomes a blueprint for decision making. It has gone through many steps, many choices, many brainstorming, many do's and don'ts. Before you actually implement, you have a real task, a real good thorough examination of the variety of choices and the variety of pluses and minuses. Therefore, before you begin a project, when you go through this work, you can be sure that you will be smarter than any other player in this, even if the money is coming to you freely, and even if you are doing it for free of for a noble cause, you can do the same for far better reach or provide a customer with a higher product, better product at a lower cost. That is what you are doing, adding value. In a nutshell, every project is adding value. Therefore, you must pay attention to all these details and refine your planning, refine your choices before you actually implement. Does this mean that a project report which has a feasibility of market, a definition of the product, a feasibility of financial viability, marketing details, management details will never fail? No, it will fail. Therefore, in a project report, you also have a section called exit options. Exit options and contingency options. Very critical. Most likely, the project report you purchased does not have this. Exit options is an option of possible failure in case of something going out of your control, but you have an exit strategy. So whatever you have invested, whatever work you have done, can be modified or salvaged or damages reduced. This is an important part of every project report. And the idea is to develop it yourself, not buy it, not hire it, so that you have the answers, you have the decision making perfectly. We will have many examples. This is just a small example of starting a software industry. You must have the right skill set, the technically knowledgeable people, the size and backup of the hardware you choose, who will manage the product, back end, you may be only the supplying or information, who will be delivering the product, the updation of the real-time information on your website, and the logistical costs to reduce the supply of and yet be prompt. So this is just a small example. I hope the importance of making a project report is very clear now, and I look forward to any queries or any information more that you need. We will discuss tomorrow how the implementation happens.
Okay, so as you say, the exit point and contingency point.
Yes.
So before planning, one need to have some kind of separate planning for these two, so that
Yes.
they can save themselves from the.
Because however much you may plan, there is still a little percentage which is unforeseen or can change due to natural reasons or artificial reasons, and therefore at least you must know that I can escape. It is like having a safety or exit route even in an aircraft. Anything can go wrong. Not that it will go wrong, because if you are thorough with your project preparation, then the chances of success are much more, but you must always keep that in mind. It also shows a planner's mind.
So what other caution one need to know?
The finances. It is important, two things, the time and the finances. The time of implementation, which we will come tomorrow, but in this whole process, the timing is important and the funding is important. It does not mean that because you're getting so much money, you have to just spend it. Save as much as you can, because you may need it in the future. The other caution is the nature of your product or the project. Make it as foolproof in the beginning, or as sharp and well focused on the customer's needs. If you try to be too general, you may not be able to deliver the right project, and the project will be doomed for failure because it is not equipped for one particular item. You can always grow later. It does not mean you will not grow. And the last item I would like to caution is short-term versus long-term answers. A project is usually for a long-term reason, or at least it will have a short-term and a long-term methodology. So on both these time frames, the planning should be focused.
Okay, suppose someone midway wants to change the line. The project they started, and what they find that this is the difficult path and the similar nature of the project we take in midway.
Right.
So is this suggested he need to plan the another project thoroughly and then he
Yes.
start afresh?
Yes. Now, you see, if it is a large investment item, then that is why when we said in the beginning, that make an in-depth study for at least 3 projects. That is exactly the reason, your question is very relevant, that we make a detailed study for at least 3 items, and within these 3 you'll be most comfortable on at least 1 out of the 3.
Okay.
Second, what you can do is the adaptability of your investments. So when you're choosing the project, if you're not fully certain, you take a more general purpose investment nature, whether it is staff or whether it is machinery or location, so that you can modify the product a little bit, and otherwise know which competition is there who's willing to buy your facility. And in fact, sometimes you can begin with safety by selling it to another person who's marketing it. That means you are doing the manufacturing and the bigger person is doing the retailing. So or vice versa, you begin by selling, do not invest in manufacturing. So you learn the customer feedback firsthand. You can buy from somebody directly without investment. So you break up your project into 2 parts. One is the delivery and one is the making of the product. This will also add safety to your project, whichever project you are choosing.
Okay. So talk about the inventory, especially the project which have a large inventory need to be more cautious, because if you purchase all the equipment or the infrastructure which required to developed, and by the time you realize there's we need to shift, so that will be a too late decision and that will incur loss, nothing else.
That's right. In this case, a thorough knowledge of the market is important. Fortunately, in a country like India, we have, or any developing country, we have many different markets, like an urban market, semi-urban market, rural market, interior market. Similarly, our demographics of economics, very rich people, middle class people, beginning people, the pyramid of youth and old people, this is a huge opportunity. So in case you feel that this inventory is not being sold or liquidated fast enough as per my original expectation, you should be able to shift to the next segment of customers who are not yet so savvy or not yet so organized, and they will buy the same item very happily. For example, you want to sell books and you find that the rich people or the mainstream schools are not buying it because they are into computers and internet.
Okay.
You can go to the tier 2 or you can go to the government schools and they will be very happy to get your books.
Okay. So, well friends, with this word we conclude the lecture. I thank all of you for watching the lecture, and on behalf I thank Professor Nadira Chaturvedi for giving such a wonderful lecture on this great topic. Thank you very much.